Welcome back.
Lee Keckner here with us.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
So Jackie and I were talking just in our production meeting yesterday about all the stuff that happens during the break, and sometimes those are the best conversations.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to figure out how to manifest those.
Maybe
into
you keep rolling or recording, and then you say, for the break talk, go to our website and hear the good stuff that happened at break.
Make that happen.
Behind the broads. Okay?
Behind the broads.
Yeah, we got to come up with that.
Yeah. So we promised people 3 tips to improve your life, and I think that you have so many more than that. So as I fix myself here on
Could you please
Periscope.
just straighten up a little bit before I give any tips?
It's a big moment. Yeah.
I mean, you were just talking about, I think the first tip would be making those small steps every day toward the bigger purpose. Yes?
Well, I actually think there's 2 things that are hugely important. And one is that I think that we come on into the planet straight from God as these beautiful, bright, amazing, creative, powerful beings, and we get put in these little earth suits, and then our parents and our teachers and our friends and our family start covering it like paper mache, just start covering our light and saying things that we start believing. And by the time we become adults, we're like, who in the heck am I and why am I here? And then we're standing in line and doing jobs we hate and taking pills to sleep and getting huge and cubicle, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that...
Thank you for not looking at us when you said...
No, I just made sure to look at the ground when I said sitting in a cubicle and giant. No, but I think that we lose ourselves. So I think the cool thing... my very first workshop is called Getting Back to Your Greatness, and it's where literally I help people identify the story. The one thing, it's like if you've seen the movie Inside Out, the first time I saw it, I didn't care. The second time I saw it, I got it, like the brilliance of it, that there are core memories. And we all have a core memory that somebody said to us when we were 7 years old, or somebody left us when we were 3 years old, or somebody never got out of bed for us, and we interpreted that in our little pea brains.
Right.
I'm not worthy. And that's usually most of the persons, all of us, we're trying to get over this thing, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy.
Right.
Who do I think I am?
Right.
That's what is holding most of the people back. So finding that little tiny moment and realizing it's not real, it's just a memory, and realizing that you have smeared that on your goggles or your lenses of your eyeballs, and you see the whole world that way. So everything, they show me I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, why do I think I could have him? Why should I have the good? And we're just holding ourselves back. Right. So it's really realizing what the thing was, and seeing it and thanking it for serving us and giving us our stuff that we get to work through and learn from and grow from, but then letting it go and living more fully from who we are. So I like to kind of peel back the layers, get back to our core. So anyway, I think it's that, realizing you are brilliant and beautiful, and that there's a story you've been holding, which is just a thought, it's not real, and it's been crushing your entire body, your whole life. So anyway, that's one thing.
What happens when you surround yourself with people who constantly remind you of that story, and of that feeling, who every time you try to find yourself are like, sorry, don't forget, you're that person.
And then you say, wow, thank you so much for reminding me of where I don't want to go. Thank you so much for showing me that I've held myself there so long, because I'm pulling my foot out of that quicksand. And if you want to swim in that right on, I'm going to have to walk on past you. If you want to join me in arms and move towards evolving and being happy and making new decisions right on, when you start to wake up and you start to change and you start shedding your old stories, your old roles, because we are all playing roles that we were assigned, especially in our families. And when you start going, I'm done with my role, they're all like, forget you, who do you think you are? And everything gets rattled.
Right.
The foundation of how you all think you're supposed to be gets rattled.
Right.
And rattling is great. It can be painful and isolating, but it's great.
I had an experience back in the 90s where I did this it was called Life Spring, and I had like these epiphanies, and I shook some of my old stories, and my role changed in my family and in my friends, and people started to get angry at me, and they deserted me, and they thought, well, who the heck are you? And they wanted to keep me in that box, but it dawned on me that I was everybody's doormat for such a long time, and when I started to assert myself and have healthy boundaries and take care of myself and not surround myself with toxicity and push away things that were squishing me, people were jarred by that, because then it made them question what their roles were and what they were dealing with. And it was lonely for a long time, because I was like adamant that I was not going to. And then I started to soften again, and then, it's like a give and take, but it's hard.
That's a great point. Evolution can sometimes be a very lonely place.
Well, lonely if you choose the victim look on it. So I'm lonely because I'm growing. Nah. I'm shedding things that hurt me. I'm shedding, I'm stepping out in a really powerful way. I'm taking care of myself. I'm being kind to myself instead of people pleasing, which is opposite of being kind to yourself. So I just think, so that's beautiful awareness, what you're saying. But the second thing, besides kind of realizing that we're crushed by a thought,
Right.
it's just a thought that we can reprogram in our brain.
Right.
The other thing is ownership, because as soon as you have ownership of who you are, how you're showing up, then you no longer can blame other people. You take ownership of your life, and that's all that we can do. And Kim and I were talking about this yesterday. You can't have any control of what happens around you. You can't control how people react, how they're going to show up, who that you want them to be. The only thing you really have dominion over is yourself.
So taking ownership is number 2.
Well, yeah.
Don't
no,
give number 3 yet.
okay.
We're going to hold.
Yeah, we're gonna hold it.
We're doing the whole Ryan Seacrest thing. And number 3
Is right after the break. We'll be right back on Broadscast.
Hi, we're back.
We are back.
Thank you
We
for
are back.
staying, Lee. We like having you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Good,
I
thanks.
might come back tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we won't be here, but if you want to just pop in every Friday.
Oh, then, no,
live,
yeah,
1 p.m.
yeah.
Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, I like that.
Life Tips with Lee Keckner.
Yes.
I'm going to be your voiceover.
Broadcast Lee.
Yeah. Broadscast Lee? Yeah. Okay.
There's something
That's
there.
a mouthful.
So all right, so we talked about 2 tips for
Yeah.
changing your life or improving it. I hate when people say changing your life because it gives that idea that something's wrong with your life, but I think everybody can use improving.
Yeah, I think just like I always say, I'll give you tangible tools for a happy life,
Love
for
it.
a happier.
Happier.
Yeah, for a better, for a more empowering.
Yeah.
Where you're not like waiting to see what happens, but you're actually co-creating your life.
I'm so glad that things have shifted over the past, don't you think in the past few years that people are more interested in balance and happiness, and you hate the word balance.
I don't. No, I don't. I was thinking that I don't know that everybody has. I think that we as adult women choose to surround ourselves with people that are like-minded. So I think there are certainly people, we can see it every day on the news with all of the intolerance and the judgment and the hate, that the whole world has not shifted. But I choose as I go through my life to surround myself with people that support and evolve along with me. And I don't find myself connecting as much with people that are stuck and kind of in a rut. I mean, I love them and I appreciate and respect where they are, but it doesn't always help me move forward in my direction.
Right.
So
what would tip number 3 be?
This sounds kind of whatever. Well, maybe I'm not going to even judge myself.
It's
What's
broadcast.
happening
Yeah,
here? What's
there's no
happening here? Being
sometimes there is,
gentle
yeah.
with yourself. Because every single time you get triggered, every single time you get mad at someone, every single time you want to point a finger because something inside of you is hurting.
Right.
So instead of going out there all the time, start going inside. Like literally when I get mad or I feel hurt or triggered, I close my eyes and put my hand on my heart and tell whatever inside of me is hurting, I've got you. You're okay. Because instead of being reactive to what's happening, I want to start taking care of myself. So no matter what shows up, I can see it. What shows up in this little movie that we're living and creating and writing, and I can see it, but not take it personal or have it crush me. I can just learn from it. You know what I mean? And keep healing.
Right.
Because I think that anytime we're reactive, we're protecting. But I don't want to protect anymore. In class, they teach us at the University of Santa Monica that healing is the act of applying loving to the places that hurt inside. And that's really beautiful to me because it takes all the stuff that happens on the outside world that's always going to happen. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Because if you are focusing on your heart and healing and taking care of yourself, that stuff matters less and less.
Right.
And everything really, the only work we're really here to do is evolve ourselves and learn from ourselves. And the people outside just show up to teach us. So instead of making them wrong because we got pissed,
Right.
wow. So now when I want to fight with my husband, I have ownership. I'm hurting inside.
Right.
I'm projecting it on him. So I say, honey, can I have 1 second so I can go and be kind to myself for a minute because I'm hurting. Because anger is the next step over hurting. If you go under anger, there's hurt. So I go straight to the hurt now, or my husband comes up, he's mad, and I used to go, you're mad all the time. Now I see him and I think, wow, under that is a man that's hurting and probably his younger self who never got to be
Right.
heard in his home. So do I want to fight with the man or go to the little kid who never got to be heard? So instead now I say, "Guy, I see you're having a hard time. Can I give you a hug?" And he's like, "What?" You know what I mean? And it melts
Yeah.
because I go straight to the hurt and ignore the anger.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jackie.
I was just going to say, I go back and forth between wanting to be your best friend and never seeing you again because you bring something up. Like your lessons are so sincere. Your lessons are so sincere and so delivered with such compassion. You know, you see a lot of people out there in this, like, I'm a life coach, and they're on Twitter, and they're, you know, and it's just,
Yeah, that's why I don't get with that word, but I do know that I
have a
speak
gift.
from my heart, and it's all stuff that I'm experiencing, go, oh, here's what I learned, or here's how we're
Right.
shifting, or here's how I'm loving more because I'm loving myself more, so I can show
Right,
up in a new
right.
way for my husband and my children.
but it makes it very difficult for others sometimes, I can imagine, to be around because then they have to look within. You kind of hold a mirror up when you speak to other people, and then they kind of see themselves and the areas that they need to work on.
Yeah, and I would say I hold a mirror up to myself, owning my humanness, or my craziness, or
Right.
my wildness, or my you know. And I exploded on my 4-year-old yesterday in the car, and I had to pull over and take a breath and go hold my heart, and then turn around and apologize.
Yeah.
Because she decided not to do soccer camp at the last second, and I timed it perfect that I was going to drop her off, wave to her, and make it to my exercise class. And then all of a sudden I start running across the soccer field, and she's like, "Mom!" And I turn around, she's like, and I couldn't sit at the house, so I ran back. I was like, "What?" She goes, "My stomach hurts." And I go, "Eve, you have to stick it out. You told me you wanted to do this. I got to go to my exercise class." And then she was like, "No, I want to leave." And we got in the car, and I was like, "I wanted to go to my exercise class." And I was like, "Oh my gracious me. I'm still human." So I thanked myself for showing myself that I constantly have work to do. And I pulled over and apologized to her. And I almost started crying because I was like, wow, that little girl, her stomach did hurt because she was scared and she needed me. And I was screaming at her because of it. Holy Toledo.
But your anger comes from a place of hurt maybe too, because you know you aren't always able to put yourself first, and so here you were trying to do something for yourself.
Wait, I love
and-
that you said that, because I think the most important thing is putting yourself first.
This is an incredible concept. I've been talking about this for a long time, with being selfish, but not in a way that has
No.
a negative connotation, but about putting yourself first. And I think people they struggle with how to do that, because in some ways it means, well, not being kind to others. I'm like, no, it's being kind to yourself first so that you can allow
Yes.
kindness to shift and move and
Yes.
impact others. And I think people struggle with that.
Yes, if you are running ragged, if you're all over the place, if you're resentful, if you don't take care of yourself, how can you fully show up and love and be
Right.
present? If you are filling yourself and calming your heart and loving yourself and feeling good and working out or
And saying, "I'm
meditating,
worth it."
what I am worth it, then you can show up as a different person.
Right.
Running yourself ragged and doing everything and busting. Sorry.
I think if we say it together, it's okay.
It doesn't make you a better mom or a great mom.
Right.
Or a great mom is someone who can listen and see their kids and be present.
Right.
And that's it. It can be that simple.
Well, let's talk a little bit more, and when we come back from this break, you're
Let's
listening to
do.
Broadscast.
With Lee Kuckner.